So first, I would define myself as an NLP person. So I did a lot of NLP projects in machine translation and evaluation. But also I'm interested in model capabilities, like how the AI models thinking through time. And this is the topic of temporal reasoning. And when I was preparing for this talk, I was thinking what I can contribute to ACL Think FinTech, because I'm very excited to give a talk to the audience here, but also I'm a bit anxious because I didn't work in the finance domain before. So I had to take one step back and to do some research and think about the financial problems. But also I take into account the publication of your research group. Then this topic came to me, the why AI traders lose money, sorry. Then I will discuss this topic from a perspective of temporal reasoning. Okay, with this, let's get started. The story begins with something we all know of, that a company, OpenAI, invented ChatGPT. It has impacted many sectors of our life. Then finance has no exception. And we can see many news articles that are discussing the use cases of ChatGPT for finance. But why people are interested in AI for finance in the first place? This is because many people, including myself, and we believe and one day that we will be supported or surrounded by our personal financial assistant, and which can support us 7 times 24 hours, can manage our money, and can analyze the market, product price, and help us to make profit. This all sounds great, but remember, finance is a high-stakes domain. So any mistake by AI may cause us lose a fortune. This is exactly what we're seeing today. Early this year, an entrepreneur, Kevin, and he experimented with AI training bot. He let the AI training bot access to his financial account, which has more than $10 million. And he asked the training bot to make profit for him. But unfortunately, the results didn't come to his way. And in just a single day, that training bot lost $10 million. What happened? That's crazy. And we as researchers, we'd like to ask questions. There's many research questions that we could explore. But in this talk, I will focus on the following 3. What does AI trader think? Why it failed so brutally? And why it didn't stop trading after losing money for just a few hours. So first, what does AI trader actually do? I think there are 3 major tasks: collecting the data, analyzing the data, then predict the market. Then in speaking of data, there's a lot of data sources, but what data sources are of interest for the AI traders? So let's say there's a social media data, which regards social media platform have the data regarding user reaction to the market. There's an analysis report, which are the report regarding the financial situation of companies. Then the price chart, these are the figures that use candlesticks to describe the price changes over time. There's on-chain data, which are regarding the crypto assets, and so on. So what skill set do AI traders need in order to analyze all these kind of data sets? So the first skill set I can think of is multimodality, because the data include numbers, figures, tables, and charts, right? So it's important for AI to understand the AI traders to understand different kinds of data they presented in different forms. Second is temporality, because we want AI to analyze 1 minute chart, 3 minute chart, and to reason about when to buy and when to sell. Third is domain expertise, because we know the AI trader must have the financial knowledge, otherwise it will not be able to understand, to analyze the financial data, financial report. Then what is creativity here? Is that, for instance, we want AI trader to predict the market in the next 10 minutes. But this is the knowledge not available in the training data. So this is the new knowledge. So the AI trader must be creative, so to speak, to create this new knowledge, to make reliable decisions, like forecasting the price in the next 10 minutes. Of course, there are many other skills I didn't mention here, but we can discuss in the QA session. And today, I would like to dive into one skill, which is temporality. The temporality thinking skill, AI thinking through time. Why I think this thinking skill may stand out among others, because these skills will affect AI tradings regarding when to buy, when to sell, and when to stop. I can think of several dimensions regarding time. For instance, let's say real-time reasoning. Real-time reasoning is where we ask AI traders to analyze 1 minute chart, 30-second chart, and we hope the AI can make a decision of buying and selling really quickly, and attempting to be outsmart of everyone in just in the blink of the eye. The second is short-term reasoning, is that we hope the AI can buy at the right time and sell at the right time. Long-term reasoning is that we hope the AI will not be panicked about immediate losses, but focus on the long-term gains. Then time arithmetic is regarding when to buy and when to sell. I will give some examples in the next few slides. Then time step parsing is which allows the AI to read off the clocks. So it will notice that when the market opens, when the market ends. And here is that the main objective for me, that to have this temporal thinking skill, is to reason about when to buy, when to sell, and when to stop. And I can think about at least 2 AI behaviors that are responsible for the when reasoning. First, how does AI tokenize time? Second, how does AI internally represent time? Then I will go through these behaviors one at a time. How does AI tokenize time? We ask the Q1, 2.5, and gamma to tokenize the time step. And we found here is the time step is entirely fragmented into individual tokens. So what these numbers even mean in this case, right? Then why this matters? Because let's say we have a brilliant AI, a financial assistant, and it can understand every single report, analyze the report, and we ask simple instructions. We just ask AI trader to buy an Apple stock at 9:30 and sell at 2 p.m. and stop doing at 4 p.m. But then the AI trader think, okay, I can take on this task. But when the AI trader look at the clock, he got confused. 9:30, right? What does it even mean? So this is problematic. Okay, so maybe the AI trader will buy and sell at the wrong time. And this is the same story if we applied, let's say, I asked the GPT-4, Llama 3, and the DeepSeek R1 to tokenize a date. And you will see the year component, 2019, is fragmented into 2 subtokens. So what does the 201 even mean here? Right? So this would make the problem that maybe the AI trader will lose the opportunity of making profit. But we found that the time aspect is more profound, it's more complicated than we thought. Why? Because there's many date formats and time formats. But also we can see there's different calendar systems, Gregorian systems, non-Gregorian systems. There are different time periods and different language-specific representations. For instance, January in English, 1月 in Chinese, and Januar in German. Then the question is, now we know the AI would like to produce data fragments, but whether these time fragments or data fragments really matters to temporal reasoning tasks. This is what we are investigating here. So we correlate the F metric score with the temporal reasoning performance. The F metric score is the matrix we designed to quantify the data fragments. And we found the correlation is moderate. This means generally the greater fragmentation leads to poorer temporal reasoning performance. But this is not always the case, right? Because the correlation is just moderate. So the question here becomes when, so sometimes, let's say, there's a possibility that the data is fragmented, so the AI cannot properly tokenize time, but the temporal reasoning output is still correct. So we want to ask why this is the case. Why, when do data fragments not matter? So what we call this phenomenon is resilience to data fragments, because we found that sometimes the AI is able to heal the data fragments through the internal computation. So you see here the tokenization is wrong, but the model output is correct. But what does the healing process look like? So we define healing process to be the process that AI stitch the data fragments in a way that the reasoning output is correct. For instance, here we just ask a simple question for AI, and the reasoning output is correct, and this is the stitching path. Okay, so 25 is stitched to 220, 220 is stitched to 031, and this is the stitching path we observed at the last layer of the transformer. But there's many different stitching paths, stitching options across different layers. Sometimes we can see the same stitching path, sometimes we can see different stitching paths. But of course, different other stitching paths will often lead to the wrong reasoning output. So this is the healing process, which is able to heal the data fragments. But we want to point out there's no free lunch. We have to pay the price. So the model is impossible to, it's possible for model to heal the data fragments through the internal computation, but the model has to pay the price. First price it has to pay is data frequency. So if the AI see this date hundreds of thousands of times, right, then it's possible to heal this data more often than the date that we cannot see at all in the dataset, or very rarely seen in the dataset. Second price they have to pay is the model size. And we found the larger model have the greater healing capacities to stitch the data fragments. And this is the results that we present here. Is we investigated Q1 2.5 and across different model sizes, and to see their reasoning performance. And here we are looking at when the healing starts to be enormously successful. Being enormously successful here, I mean, is that the temporal accuracy is above 80% or 90%, something like that. And what we found is the larger model, for example, of course, 7B is not so large, but it's comparably large in our setup. So 7B, 7 billion parameters, the Q1 with 7 billion parameters, and it's massively successful. The healing is massively successful at the early stage, 20% of the layers. But for the smaller models, we can see healing is still possible, even for the smaller models. But the healing happens at the intermediate layers. So the healing here starts from the first layer, then travel all the way up to the upper layers. So this is the process for the smaller models. But we can still see the performance gap across the different model sizes, which means the high heating capacity for the large model is stronger than the smaller models. Okay, then, here I would like to talk about the second AI behavior. It's how the AI internally represent time. Okay. So I will start with a conceptual embedding space. So here there's a different data points, and each data point is a representation of a specific hour from 8 a.m. all the way up to 5 p.m. And then we see these presentations are distributed all over the place. And what's the problem here? The problem here is the distance becomes meaningless, right? For example, let's ask AI what time is closest to 9 a.m. Then what AI would do? AI would very likely will scan all the representations and compute their distance from the 9 a.m. And it will find out, the 5 p.m. is the nearest data point to 9 a.m. So the AI will think, the closest time to the nearest time to 9 a.m. is 5 p.m. So this is problematic. But what if the embedding space is linear? In the sense that the presentation of different hours form a line. Then the advantage of this linear embedding space is that the distance becomes time difference. For instance, 9 a.m. has 1 hour difference from 8 a.m. And it has a distance of 1 from 8 a.m. Then 10 a.m. has 2 hour difference from 8 a.m. has a distance of 2, and so on and so forth. So in this case, we can say that the distance equals time difference, and this will make the temporal reasoning, like temporal arithmetic, easier. But this is just in theory. This is our hypothesis. Where we have to verify this. So what we do is we design a matrix, and to quantify the temporal linearity of embedding space. And then we correlate this embedding space, correlate this linearity score with the temporal reasoning accuracy. And then we found strong correlations. This means the stronger temporal linearity will often lead to better temporal reasoning accuracy. I will skip all the details, for example, how we design metric and so on. If you are interested, please check out our paper. And in our paper, we also discussed the linearity and the tokenization. So we're discussing, these are two factors. We say that these are two factors responsible for the temporal reasoning. Then we discuss which factor matters most in which setup. We also discuss the causation versus correlations. Okay, again, if you're interested in details, please check out our papers. Okay, so this is what I would like to present is here what the embedding space looks like. Okay, because we say there's a models, let's say AI models, sometimes they have some sort of linearity in their embedding space, but how the linearity actually look like. Okay, so we investigated the Q13 and the smaller model. And this is the presentation of the intermediate layers, like 14 layers. And these are the embeddings that we projected into two-dimensional space using PCA. And these are the two most prominent components. And where we can see here, here each data point is a presentation of a year. So there's many data points here, and which means the presentation from 1990 all the way up to 2025. And we can see there's a 4 dense regions. And within each regions, we can say the linearity is almost there. This means the temporal reasoning within these regions is possible. It's relatively easy. But if we want to see the reasoning across the regions, then the challenge is where the challenges occur. For instance, we can ask, for example, which year is it 10 years back from today? So this will requires the reasoning across several dense regions. This is where the temporal challenge occur. Okay, I keep my presentation very short, so we have plenty of time for discussions. Thank you very much for your time and attention.